Hello and good morning. I'm Michelle with Confident Dreaming, your energy alchemist and transformational life coach with a Disney twist, here today with your Magical Monday message. We are in week 3 of diving into the book, The Four Agreements, which is a Toltec wisdom book and a practical guide to personal freedom. Week 3 is Don't Make Assumptions. Now, the idea is if you follow the 4 agreements in this book, you can radically change your life. And really, it's true. The first one is to be impeccable with your word, which we talked about a couple weeks ago, and it's about speaking well of yourself and others, to be without sin. So that's not gossiping, that's not speaking down, that's not speaking bad. Always being impeccable with your words, and it's also training the voice in your brain to be impeccable too. You'll never reach it in your brain, but just the practice of it will give you some freedom. The second one was to not take anything personally. And when we take things personally, we get hurt and we suffer. But if we don't take the actions of others personally, because what they do is because of their life, then we don't have to suffer. Now, the easiest way to not take anything personally is agreement 3, is to not make assumptions. Many people are brought up being told, always assume the best. But if we assume the best, we're going to be let down. If we assume the worst, we're going to be proven right about somebody. If we're assuming the worst, we're not being impeccable with our words. So just don't assume anything. Instead, ask questions, gain clarity, keep asking until it's out there. Till you have your answer and you know the truth. How many times do we make assumptions? Especially these days, especially if you see somebody not wearing a mask, you probably assume they're a Trump supporter and don't have a vaccine because, that's what all non-mask wearers do, right? That's an assumption. By the way, not my political views, just like the assumptions that are out there. Somebody who doesn't even take their mask off outside, right, must be scared and, what are they called? People call them sheep, or we are making assumptions and being the furthest thing from impeccable with our words. And there's like this great chasm in this country. And I think, or I know, if we practice being impeccable with our words and stop making assumptions, we'll stop taking things personally, and then we can get along and we will live with personal freedom and at peace, right? I took happiness coach training, and they called it expectations. When you have high expectations or low expectations, generally our mood swings. We're happier when the high expectations are met, because the low ones are generally, the bad assumptions you make about people. So obviously that's not going to make you happy. But true joy is here in the middle, when we have no expectations, because we're not going to be let down. We're not going to be proven right about something that we're dreading. When we have no expectations and no assumptions, we can be freer. And I don't know about you, but I would rather live with more joy. I don't want to live with disappointment and hate and grumpiness and all those negative emotions, which you still get even without expectations, because it's part of life, and life is life, and we're all human. And if I get cut off in traffic, I guarantee you some of those emotions are going to come up. But if we can live a life with no assumptions and no expectations, and just be pleasantly surprised at life, we will have greater fulfillment and joy. And if you haven't heard it before, when you assume something, look at the letters of the words. You make an ass out of you and me, right? Because then I'm mad because you didn't hit my assumption, and then you get mad at me because I'm mad at you, and it snowballs. So let go of assumptions, ask questions, gain clarity, open communication. Let's learn to communicate again, and then we can have more freedom and peace and long-lasting joy. And we are meant and made for happiness. I forgot, I do normally read. So, in The Voice of Knowledge, which is the 3rd book in the series, he says, what is going on when we make assumptions? The storyteller, which is the voice in our head, is making up a story. We believe the story, and we fail to ask questions that might shed some light on the truth. These assumptions create a whole world of illusion that is not true at all, but we believe it. Making assumptions and then taking them personally is the beginning of hell in this world. Humans create so many problems because we make assumptions and believe they are truth. Almost all our conflicts are based on this. Then he goes on to say, knowing what you are communicating is just a point of view based on what you believe. And what you believe is just a program. It is nothing but ideas that are mostly lies. That is why you need to listen and ask questions. With clear communication, people will give you all the information you need, and you won't have to make assumptions. So in the actual 4 agreements, he goes, the problem with making assumptions is we believe they are the truth. We only see what we want to see and hear what we want to hear. We don't perceive things the way they are. We literally dream up things in our imagination, and that's what we're doing when we make assumptions. Because we have the need to justify everything, to explain and understand everything. It is not important if the answer is correct, just the answer itself makes us feel safe, and the answer is the assumption, right? Why did this person do this? And you make all these stories in your head. That's assuming. When we believe something, we assume we are right about it to the point that we will destroy relationships in order to defend our position. If that ain't happening now, I don't know what is, but I have seen plenty of relationships destroyed based on assumption. And, yeah, and it's not a way to live. So rather than assume something, rather than make up a story about why somebody did something to you, ask questions and gain clarity. The truth is out there, and it's generally not what we're thinking. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day. If this helped you, or you think it would help others, please share, like this video. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.